Hello everybody. My directions for the week 1 server activities were behind because I had the wrong link. And actually, if you did get to these directions, I had the wrong version of Windows. Even though the book we're using says Server 2022, there's no reason we can't use Server 2025. Here's one way to create a screenshot by using the snipping tool. You can do this, Windows key and Shift, type S. That brings up your snipping tool. I can't demonstrate that because it doesn't work when you're doing a screencast recording. You can also press the print screen key on your keyboard, which I have, and actually it's working. And then when that shows up, you drag your mouse and there's your clip. You Control V and paste it. I actually use a different program, but it's the same idea. All right. So make a snapshot. We'll look at where that is later on. If you make a major change, well, you can always revert back. However, snapshots take up a lot of room, and virtual machines take up a lot of room. So we're going to download the evaluation copy of, we're going to download this. Yep. This right now actually takes us to the right website. I had it linked to the wrong thing before. But now that's fixed. Let me get this guy over here. So this is what you should see. We want to download the ISO. And it's going to make you fill out a bunch of stuff. You don't have to fill in real things, but when you click download now, it'll want you to download the X386 one. So let me get out of, the X64 one. I've already downloaded this. So I have mine stored on my hard drive. Yours will be in the ISO folder. Then we want to install VirtualBox. We want to make sure you have the latest version. If you're installing VirtualBox for the first time, you will need the Visual C++ redistributable. Once you've got this installed once, it'll automatically update and do everything on its own. So let's go to VirtualBox. Here it is. VirtualBox. There it is, Oracle VirtualBox. Download. And there it is, 7.2.0. And that's a small file. I've already downloaded it because I had to start this over again. So now I have two of them. Well, I only need one. When you're downloading and installing software, you don't need to keep all the installation files. You can delete them once you're finished. Because if you need it again, guess what? You can download it. Virtual machines do take up a lot of room. So we're going to do next. And mine says remove. So let me go ahead and remove it real quick. All right, one more try. Yes, sirree, here we are. Next. You can install everything. We really don't need Python support, so I never install it because I never use Python support. We do need the rest of this. So you go ahead and click Next. There's really no other choices. This usually doesn't do anything. It just says that it might. I don't need a shortcut, desktop shortcut for me. You could if you wanted. That's totally your choice. Click Next. And then it's ready. Then you click Install. Pretty much that's it. Pretty short process. Each virtual machine can take up a lot of room. As you can see here, I already have a bunch of virtual machines installed. I have deleted all my virtual machines from last semester. These are all virtual machines that I'm using for other projects. Well, I guess I don't need Metasploitable. So I would suggest delete them all unless you're doing something specific with it. To do that, right-click, remove. Make sure you click this. If you don't click delete the virtual machine files and virtual disk, you'll be eating up 10 to 12 gigabytes of disk space for no reason. Because they do take a lot of room. When I click remove, yep, I can always install him later. Now, I've got my ISO downloaded. I'm ready to create a new machine. Notice these little buttons are a little bit different in this version of VirtualBox. This is the machines button if you're not automatically here. And we want to create a new machine. We're going to call it, as this is a server class, this is the name of our virtual machine. This is not the name of our server. This is the name of the container. It's like having a Dell server. There is a specific one. It picks Windows. And down here, we're going to Windows 11. Yeah, that'd work fine. But they have one specifically for Server 2025. What this does is make VirtualBox as compatible as possible with Server 2025. So it's a good idea to do that one. We are not sending up unattended. We don't have to change the virtual hardware. We don't have to specify the virtual disk. Everything's fine. We aren't going to attach the OS at this point. We're not going to do an unattended installation. We're going to do it manually. So we go ahead and click Finish. And there it is. We have a brand new box that we bought from Dell, or whoever we bought it from. I'm just saying Dell because most of the servers I've worked with are Dell's. HP is another one that I've worked with quite a bit, but I've worked with Dell more. So we're going to go ahead and start this virtual machine. Well, remember, all the drives on our hardware are empty. So is there a bootable device anywhere? No. There's no bootable USB. There's no bootable USB. There is no bootable hard drive. We have a blank piece of hardware. So we're going to click this guy and go to Other and find our ISO file, because that is our installation media. It's also, installation media is also what's called boot media. Now I have all my ISOs in a different folder. Yours is going to be here in Downloads, so you'll find it right there. I have bunches of other things that I do, so here is my Server 2025 evaluation. This is our guy, 26100, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, this is what Server 2025 looks like. You can see it takes 6 gigabytes of space. So once you're done installing, delete it. All right, so we're going to open that up. That's like putting the USB bootable drive into your computer. And in class, we're going to physically install a server. Hard to do that at home because you probably don't have any extra hardware. You could do it if you had an extra computer. Server 2025 will run on almost any hardware. May not run fast, but usually it'll run. All right, so we're going to mount and retry the boot. There we go. And with this version of VirtualBox, it doesn't have you press a key. It just starts loading the installation files right now, which is good. Less steps, better. This is the same process that we're going to do with one of the new servers in D1, which we're going to set up this semester with the people in the class, people inside the class. There it is. We're going to select the language settings. I'm sticking with English. This is a little different than Server 2022, I think. And then we do Next. We are going to delete everything. There's nothing on there to delete. Our hard drive is empty. There's nothing to repair. We do Next. They're getting a few things ready, whatever that is. We want to pick this one. This one only has the command line. Not very friendly. If you accidentally install this one, remove and delete your virtual machine and start again. You can't switch between one and the other. We want the desktop experience, which means that we are going to get the graphical user interface, which is where we're going to start. We will use PowerShell as we go, but we don't want to do everything with PowerShell. We do Next. And we accept the license agreement. I don't know what else there is, just a few things. Oh, yeah. Here's our 50 gigabyte disk. Nothing to do because it's completely empty. Would you only have a 50 gigabyte disk on a real server? No. But for our virtual machine, that's plenty of size. One of my servers that we put in, not my server, but one of the servers we put in last fall, one of the new ones that we got from IT, which is actually an old one that was taken out of service, has, I think, 6 or 7 terabytes because it's got a whole bunch of disks. Well, we'll come back when this is rebooted and starting out again. Once your server restarts, or at any time after you get to the logon prompt, you can go up to Devices, Optical Drives, and remove the disk if it isn't automatically removed. You no longer need it for the installation. It's going to do this a few times, restart a few times, and eventually it'll come up to a login screen. Here we are at the point of getting our server set up, and of course we're going to use the iconic password 01 as we have nothing to protect. This is just for our convenience doing this lab. You would never use a password like that on a production system. When it logs in the first time, it's going to bring up Server Manager. Server Manager is I don't know, you would call it the one-stop shop for managing server. Now notice down here it says write control. So you have two ways to log into this server. You cannot type Control-Alt-Delete on any virtual machine. You have to either go to Input, Keyboard, insert Control-Alt-Delete, or hold down the right control button and type delete. If you press Control-Alt-Delete, you do it to your local machine, not the virtual machine. So we're logging on as administrator. This will take a moment to log in. They always have silly things like this. We're going to click accept so we can get in and actually do some work. All right. We don't want this popping up every time that we go into here, so we're going to click the X, the check mark, to close that out and close this out. This is Server Manager. We're going to use this quite a bit as we go through doing things on server. There is a lot of wizards in here that help us out. Oh, look at here. 5:29. Well, let's change our time zone. So I'm going to right click on that guy. Adjust date and time. And there it is in Pacific. Here we are in Mountain. Well, wherever you happen to be. Set it to your time zone. There we go. Now we're going to go to local server. We're going to do some configurations to the local machine once it loads everything. Now our virtual machine, the box is called Server 1, but our actual operating system is called Win blah blah blah. Well, that's a dumb name. So let's click on that. We're going to go down to Change. And we're going to type in Server 1. We're not going to worry about the work group right now. We will change to a domain later on. We click OK. It'll buzz and whir and do marvelous things. And we're not going to restart our computer yet. We'll go ahead and restart our server when we're done with our main configurations. So we click OK. We click Close. We don't have to restart right now. Now, one of the things that we want to do is we change the name. We set the mountain. Oh, yeah. We set the thing to mountain time. Oh, actually, it's in here too, isn't it? We can set it to mountain time zone here. Here we go. We want to go to Devices, Insert Guest Edition CD. That is additions, not additions, additions that help VirtualBox be more compatible with Windows 2025. Sometimes it'll pop up with something to click on. Sometimes it won't. It's busy working away here doing something, so I'm not sure what it's trying to do. Oh, it says click here to choose what happens with this disk. You can also, if that doesn't show up, go to File Explorer, go down to here, and the one we want is, of course, AMD 64. AMD is the same as Intel. It's that type of PC chip. ARM we're not dealing with. ARM is like it's a different chip. It's a different CPU. So we want to double click that. And all we do is click next and agree with whatever it says, and it'll want to reboot, and that's fine. So we agree with all that. It does its buzzing and whirring. It puts in drivers to make it more compatible with VirtualBox. So it's happier. And at the end, we're going to restart. And there we go. Reboot now. And we'll come back when it's rebooted. Well, this is a place you want to do a screenshot. Now, we want to be careful of that. I do give you a warning, and I have a little video to do this. If you're inside the virtual machine and you do a screenshot, guess what happens? The screenshot goes to the virtual machine. So to do a screenshot of the virtual machine, you click on this, click on the machine, the VirtualBox manager itself, then do your screenshot. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's still doing it inside. Okay, so that's not going to work. I do need to click somewhere else and then click just to bring this up. Now my screenshot should work okay. It's still not doing it. Well, we're going to go up to Devices, Shared Clipboard, and Enable it. Then we can do our screenshot and we'll see if it actually goes outside. We'll go to Word. It's a good thing. Paste all your screenshots into Word. That's perfectly fine. Go to Blank Document. Yep, that didn't work. So we have to be outside of this. Boy, this is harder to do than it used to be. There. I had to click down on a different program and still have this in view, and then I can circle it and screenshot it. Yeah. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we're going to change our network settings. We can get to that from local server. You can also right click here and go into network and internet settings. Let's just go ahead and go here. We have specific settings that we're going to turn on. This is going to be our server. It's going to be a DHCP server at some point. Anytime you have a server, you want it to have a static address. You do not want it to move around. If this is going to be the DHCP server, how can it assign itself an address if it doesn't have an address to begin with? So servers are always set to static addresses. So we click on that. There is our Ethernet adapter. Even if your computer has wireless, it's always going to show up as Ethernet because we have virtualized the software. Meaning that this isn't really your computer. It's just making a virtual connection to your computer. So our numbers are in the assignment. 10.10.1.10 is going to be the address of our server. Our subnet mask is going to be 255.255.255.0. Remember that subnet masks divide the network address from the host address. Our gateway router that's built into VirtualBox, which is going to be here as soon as we set up our network connections, is going to be .1. This machine is eventually going to be a DNS server, but in the meantime, we'll just put in one of Google's public IP addresses. And then we click OK. And then we click Close. Well, that's not going to work, is it? Nope. We don't want this connected to our regular network. We want this to be isolated on its own network, so we need to create a NAT network so that we can isolate this from the rest of our network. We don't want to have this interfering with our local network. We go to File. Whoops, I'm in the wrong one. Where's my manager? There it is. Here's the VirtualBox manager. This is where we add in switches. So this is like going into the server room, plugging in a switch, plugging in a router. We're creating our own network. So we go to File, Tools, Network. Go to NAT Networks. If there's anything in here, go ahead, right click and remove it. So I'm going to remove all these so I can start over again. These are from last semester. We don't need them. All right, our NAT networks are empty. NAT is net address translation. It's how routers keep your private network separate from other networks. Most of the time, that's going to be keeping your network separate from the internet. In this case, it's going to be keeping our server network separate from your local network. We will have internet access. We're going to create, and we're not going to call it NAT network. We're just going to call it server because this is a server class. And I'm going to do 10.10.1. Now notice we are defining the network address. /24 means 255.255.255.0, which means valid addresses are 1 through 254. We are not going to enable DHCP on our router. Our server is going to be the DHCP server eventually. We just haven't set it up yet. So these are the settings that you want. We click apply. All right, now we have our router set up. We have our own little network. We need to go into machine and settings and connect it up. Plug in the cable to the right network. NAT network, not NAT, but NAT network. Since I only have one, the only thing that's going to be here is server. So we go ahead and click OK. It'll take a moment for this to be recognized. If this doesn't turn to internet access right away, what's our best way to test for connectivity? Oh, yes, thank you. We want to bring up our command prompt, which right now my server has just gotten stuck. Just a second here. Well, I accidentally, when I was doing things, I accidentally closed the VirtualBox manager. So I opened it up. That didn't help. For some reason, it thinks it's paused. So I'm going to unpause it. Show, maybe. Let's see if that works. Nope, it's stuck. I don't know what happened. If something does happen, you want to close this, because I have to turn the computer off and turn it back on again. Don't ever save the machine state. Always power it off. It's like turning the power off and back on. I don't know what happened. I didn't have any trouble today in class. I've not had trouble before. I think it's because I shut down the VirtualBox manager. It didn't like me. Anyway, we'll go ahead and start it up again. We should be fine. Most modern operating systems are pretty resilient. You can turn off the power and turn it back on, and almost always they come up just fine. That doesn't mean that we should make it a habit. I'm not sure what I did, but I think it was closing the VirtualBox manager out. I accidentally did that. Well, right now, we're on our static IP address. We have internet access. Everything is happy right now. And that's pretty much it. We don't have to worry about resetting the evaluation. I think Windows Server does like 120 days or something. It usually has to last till almost to the end of the semester. Now, when you're done, make a normal shutdown like this is a real computer, because most servers are virtual servers and you want to shut them down just like a real computer. Treat them like a real computer. Of course, with servers, they run all the time, so you don't typically shut them down very often. But in our case, we are. So we shut it down, click continue, and we're good to go for this week.